Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 473. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am Obi-Wan Kenobi, Todd
Obi-Wan
Ostra.
Kenobi.
Happy May the 4th, everyone.
Nanu.
Happy
Look at
Free
this.
Comic Book Day.
Yay.
Yes, and that's the young Padawan learner who has just had too much with sand. That's Charlie.
Young? Oh, wrong movie. No, I'm going to see The Phantom Menace on the big screen tomorrow. Not because it's a good movie, but because there hasn't been a Star Wars movie on the big screen in 5 years. So I'm like, you know what? Okay. And I got my little Phantom Menace cup, which can refill it, so it'll pay for itself. And my Garfield popcorn bucket, because it was the only one they had. No, they have those. Todd, they probably have these some of the theaters you go to, the refillable popcorn bucket. Do they have the one like you buy it and it's good for 6 months? So That's what Deadpool coming out so late in the summer is that, well, they need to get something out now. So it's like they pick names out of a hat or out of a bucket. Best Fall Guy. Oh, best out of 3. Put it back in. Can you imagine? Oh, but good to be here. Yeah, happy Free Comic Book Day. Happy May the 4th. We're obviously recording this on May 4th, which is Saturday. You're listening to this on a Tuesday or potentially later. But we're glad to have you. I'm all Star Wars'd up. Todd, did you go? You went out today for Free Comic Book Day, which I know we'll talk about later.
Yep, and I am wearing a. It's kind of a hybrid shirt. My wife got it for me for my birthday. It's got Star Wars ships, but it's also got like real life ships. I don't like
the space shuttle,
spacecraft. So it's a little bit of a hybrid.
You're trying to tell me Star Wars isn't real? But I saw it on TV and in the movies, and it looks so real. It's not real.
It's laser fantasy.
I was going to go to 2 shops, actually 3. The second shop I went to, which is a shop.
Charlie, we're going to be talking about this at the back end of the show, man. So
I know. I went to this other shop and I'll save it up. But instead, we'll keep things moving. We pay a little bit of the bills at the beginning of the show by talking about the friends on our Secret Friends Unite Patreon. If you visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite and give us a shot with the free 7-day trial, you can listen to our normal podcast free of ads. Side note, we're also audio streaming over on YouTube podcast, which is always a little weird to me because we do audio and video 2 productions. But yeah, you can try us out for 7 days for free. We've got a lot of great programs, including a comic book show called Spinner Rock that Todd and I work on. That we actually dropped a very special Star Wars edition today, where the whole core SFU team, we added Mark in the mix, talked about the 1991 miniseries Star Wars Dark Empire. So check that out for free for 7 days. But if you like these fine folks, they've been with us for a while, they support us, and we're super grateful. On our Friends with Benefits level, we have John Sedorf, the awesome Phoenix Sisters cosplay, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD, and Matthew Keel. Our top tier folks are called BFFs. We have the awesome Nias family out there in the Twin Cities, Sean, Stella, and Henry, and Missy Merchant. All of you, thank you very much. Once again, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Pop on in there, try us out for 7 days. If you like what you hear, just like Arnie said, stick around.
All right. Thank you, Patreons. Well, let me tell you, this week on We Got This Covered, we've got a comic book from February 1991. I will describe it, and then Charlie will tell me all about it, because this is one of the books that he's read. So this is Web of Spider-Man, number 73. It is part 1 of 4 of Art Attack. And it says, this issue, special surprise scripter, special surprise romance, special surprise guest star, special surprise villains, plus an extra special surprise guest appearance by one of the Uncanny X-Men, and plus a few special surprise cameo appearances. Holy cow.
I love that they say an guest appearance by one of the X-Men. It's like, and it's Bill the janitor from the X-Mansion. That's so vague. Also, how can you call something a special surprise guest star when it's the Human Torch, because it's right there on the cover? Also, the letterbox says it's dated it'd be dated 1990 because it came out in like November of 1990. Got it. Thought that was a misnomer. So a special surprise romance is Aunt May, and now she had a long relationship with the dude named Nathan Lubinsky, who was in a wheelchair. and sometimes Aunt May was in a wheelchair, so I don't ever think I saw them wheelchair racing. That would have
Wheelchair
been, I know,
for two.
yeah, wheelchair for two. But yeah, this was the Art Attack arc. This was the first of the 4 issues of it. The penciler of this, and then also the interior cover, was a guy named Alex Saviak, who I met at a con last year or the year before that. Very nice guy. And again, you tend to think of these as like young artist types, but again, this was from 30 years ago, so he was an old guy who was like, oh man, I hope somebody buys some art for me that I can sign. Kind of a bummer. But I always loved his stuff. He had a very meat and potatoes kind of style, which, as you know, that's my jam. But yeah, I don't really know what is going on here, because you've got 3 obviously villainous characters.
Charlie, I picked this one so you could explain it to me.
I'm working on it. I had
okay.
It's not like I went and pulled it out of the box upstairs and read it again just so I could be prepared. Yeah, the one guy is the these are the headmen, and they all have weird heads. One guy's got like a jello head. One guy has like a sexy lady body, but his head is being held apart by an orb with arrows shooting out of it. And it's a bald guy with a big beard. Todd, this is what you would look like if you let your beard grow. You could look like this dude right here. And then the other guy is that Ape Man from the Anti-Men? Wasn't that an X-Men?
I couldn't even tell you, Charlie. Yeah. But he's wearing like a professor, like a scientist jacket.
I thought it was like a lab coat.
Like a lab coat, yeah. A scientist jacket. Yes.
That's not something.
That's what it's called.
But again, yeah, we're looking at the special surprise cover inker. It's Al Milgrom, Todd, your absolute favorite artist of all time, Mr. Al Milgrom. Oh, hit Todd up on Threads.
Well, special surprise scripter. So I don't know normally who would have wrote this comic at the time.
I think Tom DeFalco was writing this one. Damn.
I'll have to see. There was very few details in this comic, Charlie, for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I mean, I feel like I could follow up on social media because I probably have this in my bin.
Charlie.
Who is it?
John Byrne wrote this.
This was right at the tail end of his time with Marvel too, because it was the early '90s. And then, I mean, we all know I'm a huge fan of John Byrne, but he is persona non grata for about the last decade after some very not kind things he had to say about the trans community. So he's not somebody who does stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then yes, I did say a special. So there's a special guest appearance by a member of the Uncanny X-Men, like I said, Bill the Janitor, and then a special cameo appearance, which is Bill the Janitor's cousin. So get ready for it.
Is Bill the Janitor Willie Lumpkin?
That's possible. No, he was a mailman, and plus his name is Willie. Oh, Bill Willie, got it. No. So you know what? Remind me after we get done here, and certainly feel free to hit me up at C3 Carpenter on Threads or on Instagram or on our Secret Friends Discord. I'll find this issue. Maybe I'll read it, and maybe we can talk about it again next week. But where I am clearly not the newsman that I used to be in my youth, because I was completely unprepared for what we're talking about here, somebody who is really on top of stuff is our senior news correspondent. I'm talking about Madam Web at 124, almost and a half. Years young, down to the corner of Hollywood and Vine with all of the news that's fit to print on the internet. That would be Madam Web with our news and views. Let's go for it.
Now it's time for Madam Web's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Oh my goodness, Madam Web. Well, back in your day, you had May Day as the most exciting day on the planet. Oh my goodness. People were doing streamers, and they were eating hoagies out of newspapers and throwing babies out of windows. It was a great day to be an American.
Is that what May Day was? It was about some child murder. Just woo!
That's why you don't know about it anymore, Charlie.
Right, it was too horrible to remember. Oh my god! Well, it's funny you should mention horrible because I just watched this trailer after you put this flow together because I had somehow missed it. Did this drop recently or maybe earlier this week? I missed this.
May 3rd.
Yeah, we're getting, this is yesterday. Because we're getting next month in June, the 4th final season of The Boys. I don't know. It feels like maybe Maybe it could be. I'm not sure. That would be good if we did our research, which we didn't. But man, this was a trailer. Obviously, after we got Gen V, the college for the soups, that was last year. We haven't seen The Boys proper since 2022, or was it 2021? I mean, it's been a long time.
Well, we had 2022, and then we had Gen V in 2023. Yeah. So
okay, so they
kind of feel like we've gotten something.
They've kept it rolling. But at any rate, this trailer is exactly what you would expect from The Boys. It's full of gore. It's full of things that you can barely believe. Yeah, June 14th, so 6 weeks from now, we'll be seeing this. But it's they feel like they're teeing it up to be a big showdown. A lot of it is focused around Billy Butcher, who is Carl Urban's character, talking about how, hey, because we know we left him at the end of last season. If you hadn't seen it, sorry. But they discovered this drug which can temporarily give them powers, but it does kill you not so slowly after time. So we had found in the final episode of last season that he had taken too much, and that he knows that he's going to die. So he's like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to take every one of those mother effers with me, or something to that regard. And again, Todd, neither you and I went very far reading the comics, or at least I know I didn't. So I don't know if they're moving in that direction, but the focus of the season is clearly they are finding or developing or pursuing some that old chestnut of finding a virus that's going to kill him. So this virus will kill all the suits.
Yeah, it was the virus they discovered in Gen V.
Oh, very good. Sorry. So much stuff you forget. You know what it is. It's all content, Todd. It's all content.
We're here for each other. We can fill in the gaps, Charlie.
I thought it was like, then it's even less original than I thought. But yeah. So that is it looks terrific. I remember how much I fell in love with this show. I think we watched or rewatched some of the episodes like really back to back to get fired up to watch it. But still super enjoyable and unbelievable. So yeah, what'd you think?
I really liked it. We are getting some new cast members, like on the as in the 7. Apparently, there'll be some new cast members joining that, and it looks like maybe we're going to see some characters come over to the good side. But we've also got, I think you're going to see some really crazy things. Like in this trailer, we saw poultry. And we also saw the other livestock V'd up. So you had a chicken going through people's chests. You've got like flying lambs.
Yeah, I thought it was something bigger than that. I thought it was like a bison or like a bull or something. The one character that's not a new character that looked like a character is poor Erin Moriarty. The actress in real life that some plastic surgery that has just made her look like a different person. So it took me a minute.
She looked like I thought she looked this. I didn't think she looked that different in this.
Now that you mention it, I feel like the first shot of her was tough. The longer, like in a long, like there was a close up, didn't really look like her. A shot from further away, it did. It was controversy several months ago because she had some real serious plastic surgery that she just doesn't really look like she did. So I don't know. Not for me to comment on it, but it did stand out. It's looking kind of
people couldn't stop talking about me after my plastic surgery, Charlie.
Yeah, didn't you know that Todd used to be a 6 foot tall Swedish woman? I mean, I knew him when, I'm not saying I was in love with him, but
I've been face-offed.
face undered.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's going to be June 14th on Amazon Prime, which means you probably already have it. So enjoy.
Just in time for an election year. Perfect. Let's divide America.
Yeah, because there were big parts of this trailer that's exactly what it was. 2 crowds of protesters across from each other screaming, and then you see them fighting. So Todd, I just bad timing. I was so excited to go see this tomorrow because I've told you I'm seeing episode 1. The 25th anniversary on the big screen, and it was like new trailer for the Acolyte, which comes out in exactly 1 month from today, Star Wars The Acolyte. So this trailer came out today, and yes, I watched it, and yes, I'm not sorry that I watched it because it looks absolutely unbelievable, and ending with that final shot which there's been so much speculation because the regular trailer came out, I think 6 weeks ago, or the teaser trailer, the one that was like 45 seconds. And we finally get a glimpse of the red lightsaber wielding individual. And it looks like something out of a horror movie. Did you see that? It looks like the Never Stop Laughing Joker.
Like a big smile.
He had a big smile. It was nuts. But yeah, we're getting a little more fleshed out. We're finding out. And again, if it wasn't the weekend, because Mark is very busy on the weekends, we'd probably be doing I was going to say YouTube live or probably an Instagram live about this. So I would have had to watch it 5 times to take notes, but I watched just the one time. Was just trying to take things in. But we're getting a lot of action out of this trailer. You're seeing Carrie-Anne Moss's character having knives chucked at her, and she's like meow, 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 chopping them up. A lot of flippity flops, and you find out that the villain who is tossing the knives is a former Padawan, and is, you didn't necessarily know how the dark side is involved, but it's involved in some way, shape, or form. And we get a lot of kind of space play of ships flying around and flying through asteroids and spinning out of control in space. And this is absolutely nuts. Just nuts.
Yeah, I am kind of, I think it's coming into shape that the probably the main protagonist is going to be Lee Jung-jae. He's going to be the master who trained this assassin before that happened. So I'm thinking maybe that's where we're going to be from, but we're going to see a lot of young Padawan or apprentices within we're going to see a lot of Jedi. So I think that's cool. Yeah. This feels like the High Republic that I know a lot of people like that series. And
I've dabbled, but it was funny. There was once a year the Star Wars Explained guy cranks out here's the complete chronology. He's got it up to 1 hour and 45 minutes. It's so long, but a big chunk of that talks about the High Republic, and I realized how much of it I've never read. I've read a little bit of the Marvel comics, which started back in 2021, but they're now on their 3rd volume of that, and I'm not keeping up. So I really need to pick it up because they're great stories. They're great stories that have nothing to do with the OT. Which is really much to do with the sequel trilogy at all. I know Yoda made a cameo in one of the issues, and that was it, as much as I know. So yeah, I like that. I don't want anything even hinted about, oh, look, this guy's Lando's great grandfather. I don't want any of that shit. Give me a break. Original Star Wars, new ideas, different stuff. Just razzle and dazzle us. Let's do it.
Yeah, this felt fresh, and I like that. Yeah. I haven't seen that with Star Wars in a long, long time, because it's not really going to, I mean, as far as I know, this isn't going to be tied to the Skywalker story. So this feels like one of the first things we've had that's not been in that era. And I like that because then now you can feel like I'm freed. This is an entry point for people, which is nice because Star Wars rarely has an entry point for anybody except maybe the Mandalorian, and you could just get into that because. But everything else, it seems like you need an entry point.
It's exactly what you and our friend John and I were talking about yesterday about the MCU. It's become completely inaccessible, and then because you have the movie stuff, which had a great natural endpoint at Endgame, and then it turned into the TV stuff, which is it's diminishing returns with the TV stuff. It's peaks and valleys, and the valleys are getting lower and lower. And then all the movies have kind of been junk, with 1 or 2 exceptions, since 2019, in 5 years since Endgame. So, you're right. This could be the breath of fresh air because again, Star Wars kind of. A lot of people will say went out with a bang instead of a whimper with the Rise of Skywalker. A lot of people, it's very, very, each one of those sequel films was more divisive than the last.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Star Wars has done a lot of what the Star Trek used to do with their movies. A lot of up and down, a lot of up and down versus consistently good or consistently bad. It was just like kind of all over the place. So we'll see. We'll be talking about something Star Wars in a second, but because it's May the 4th.
There was a release today, exactly. All right, well, not related to Star Wars, and this was really just a teaser trailer, right? This next bit?
Teaser trailer, but quite honestly, it's coming soon, so I don't know if we're going to get more of this. But July 14th, I believe, let's see, July 18th is the return of Cobra Kai. The good news is we're getting 15 episodes in the season. That's 5 more than we've got. We're getting a third more episodes than we've ever gotten before. Right. The bad news is, folks, they're breaking it up in 3 parts.
Yeah, over a year's time. Because I'm funny. I'm a member for dates. It was July, then it was November. Then it was 2025.
So I'm guessing maybe Feb is when they would do it. January or Feb maybe is when they would do it if they want to have it out.
To space. Well, no, because whatever they put out in November would still be going on. So I'm going to say March, April would be my guess of 2025. But we'll see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It depends on how many they end up putting out. But yeah, I would have to go back and really revisit. But this is a show that's been, a lot of highs and lows. You have drama with the adults. You have drama with the kids. You have the overarching story of, Johnny getting his life together and he's kind of doing it and then he's kind of not. And then Ralph Macchio trying to keep his, family together through all this karate stuff. And, it gets really ridiculous. Let's not forget the big karate fight. Was it either in the school or at a mall?
It was at the school. Yes.
Yeah.
All over the school. Yeah.
The one kid fell and Miguel fell and practically shattered his spine, but then he ended up being just fine. It's very soap opera-y, but I still find it fun. I find it fun and accessible.
Yeah. So the official description of the season is it's picking up with Cobra Kai. Eliminated from the valley, our senseis and students must decide if and how they will compete in the Sakai Takai World Championship of Karate.
Karate.
Yes. At this point, that's kind of cool. And it sounds like this is the final season. It's once this ends, Charlie, this will actually be then merging into the Cobra.
Dovetails into the film.
The Karate Kid movie, which we're getting with Jackie Chan and Daniel LaRusso. As far as I know, those are the only two characters, but I was listening to
Jackie Chan, who is wasn't he the Mr. Miyagi in the reboot?
Yes.
Was that connected?
Yep. Yeah.
So it was connected.
Well, they're going to be connected. Okay. So they are really going to be connected.
Same universe, cinematic universe.
So it was funny because they were talking about this news and they're like, yeah, we're probably going to see like the wife of Daniel will be in like one scene calling him like, hey, how are you? And then and then Johnny will probably send him faxes of his butt. Just have a cameo. Right. So there'll be very limited cameos on the TV side. Yeah. Probably just focus on that. So yeah, I'm so glad.
The connectivity, right? That's cool. Yeah, what a weird comeback from a show that started on YouTube Red or Red.
Yes,
not RedTube.
RedTube. No, don't go there, Charlie. Yeah, there's probably something there with Karate Kid out there. So, but yeah, YouTube Red. Yeah, one of those like Yahoo Screen and all those weird services that no longer exist.
Just taking a swing and seeing if they can make it in the streaming world. So, awesome. So that is July. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in June, a lot of stuff in July that we're talking about that's really starting to shape up. So finally, one of the great actors, particularly genre wise, of our time. You know, one of his first films was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Do the Right Thing.
We're going to talk about Do the Right Thing. He was one of the neighborhood yo-yos in that. Along with the Radio Raheem, who was the guy who walked around with the big ghetto blaster.
Boombox, yeah.
Which was, I'm sorry, that was something we called it back in the 80s. I apologize. Boombox. That's a great film. I might grab that off my shelf when I head upstairs. I love that film.
Your Boombox?
Yes, my boombox. No, Do the Right Thing. I think I have it on disc. No, great flick, and really the beginning of filmmaker Spike Lee of some of the great stuff he's.
So who are we talking about, Charlie? Did you even say his name?
We're talking about Giancarlo Esposito. Woo! This is when ADD takes it to the next level.
You have to the lead is actually who the person is.
Yes, exactly. Well, Giancarlo Esposito, set to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a mystery role, promises it's better than you can imagine. And as we were just saying, we can imagination is the limit here with the MCU. Nowhere to go but up. But yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, we've obviously seen him in genre circles as Moff Gideon, or Moffy Giddy, as he's referred to as. I sound like Trump when I say that. A lot of people call him Moffy Giddy in The Mandalorian, but yeah, famous for his role in Breaking Bad, which April and I just finally watched, and just what an incredible show. He was even great in that stupid vampire movie that you and I watched, the Annabelle. Not Annabelle. What the hell's the movie we just watched?
Abigail. Very close.
Abigail. Yeah, A names are scary. But yeah, he was named vampire in that movie and still managed to pull it off.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Sorry, for a movie nobody saw anyway a month ago. What seemed like it was a month ago. So yeah, he's made this declaration. It's not. He's is he going to be Professor X? That's the popular fan cast. But discounting that, what do you think? Who do you think he could pull off? Reed Richards' dad.
That's a good question because he says we'll learn about his role sooner rather than later, which makes me think I think Marvel may be back at Comic-Con this year. Nothing's been announced. Marvel may feel like, and maybe it'd be part of like is it July? So they could be doing a Deadpool thing, and maybe they could be talking about the next film, which is what, Captain America, and a few others. So he could be, Charlie, I'm going to guess he's going to be in Thunderbolts. And I'm guessing he's going to be
Blue Marvel. I don't know. That's a black character.
Yeah, like who could he be? I'm trying to think of like if we think of Thunderbolts, it would be like, villains who became heroes undercover. And I'm trying to think who he would be a good fit as.
The Beetle? I don't know.
Have we ever gotten Henry Gyrich?
No.
He could be like a new person putting together, like he could be the foil to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, maybe within
he's
the agency.
Shadow Man.
He could be like a Henry Gyrich or somebody like that.
Yeah,
it could be like,
Well, and that would dovetail very well into future things related to mutants, and Mutant Mania is getting really pumped up with the X-Men 97 cartoon that's going on right now. So all right, so what, that's a cool prediction. But yeah, listeners, hit us up on the socials, on our Discord, Secret Friends Discord, or certainly over on Threads. And let us know who you think he would pull off being. The X-Men thing, I don't know if it's been counted or discounted, but beyond that, give us your more interesting predictions of what you think he could do.
It's a role he said you wouldn't think he would be in. So I'm guessing, not Professor X, probably not Magneto.
He's not going to be the live action Rogue or Jean Grey. I wouldn't think he'd be in those roles. No, you don't think
probably
so?
not.
Oh, man,
sorry,
know.
Charlie.
What a bummer. Talk about subverting expectations. So, oh geez, and you dropped something else in here for us. What do you got?
It kind of mixes together. So we're also getting another casting that we're going to get. Paul Walter Hauser from Cobra Kai is apparently going to be in the Fantastic Four film, and they aren't telling us who will play in the role is, but I've got to guess.
That's gonna be Willie Lumpkin. Boom. Boom.
Mailman to the stars.
Exactly. All right, what's your guess?
Mole Man.
Boom.
Right?
Do we get
kind of weird, wacky?
Yeah, because we didn't get a villain yet. I mean, the obvious choices. I thought we got Galactus as something, or is that just all?
I've heard Antonio Banderas would be the voice of Galactus.
Oh, like Puss in Boots?
Yes. I mean, sure, why not?
Yes, I want it. Oh my God. So that sounds like fun. Yeah. And then I saw two headlines and I didn't go back and check the other headline, but he got announced for some other big role he landed.
He's going to play Chris Farley in like a biopic.
Yes,
Chris Farley.
There you go.
Yeah, so he's on the rise. He's played such a doofus in Cobra Kai, and
he's very doofus looking.
People he's been in a couple really big movies that he's played great characters. So I mean,
wasn't he Tanya Harding's husband in the Tanya Harding?
I think he was, and I think he also played Richard Jewell. Didn't he play Richard Jewell in the bombing movie? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So he's played doofy creeps and like overbearing husbands, and what a great niche to be in as an actor.
Hey man, if it pays the bills, you want to be like that one, like you want to be William Zabka, or like you want to be the jerk boyfriend.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I mean, obviously I never made it as an actor because I never tried to be an actor. And yes, they're like, oh my God, this is the role of a lifetime. But a lot of it is just paying the bills. I mean, I think if the stories that we learned through the strikes last year is that, these people have a very tough road to hoe. Sometimes just getting health insurance and stuff like that. So yeah, you're going to go do the commercial for hemorrhoid cream or something because that's paying the mortgage this month. You know what I mean? So it's all right. I understand. Work is work. Some of it's art, some of it's work. But anyway, on that fair note, that is the end of the news. Todd, time to get out the Fuber app, the Feeble Uber app. We are due down for our regular table slot at the Geek Easy talk about things we're enjoying this week. But as we get into that Uber and he turns on that Sirius XM radio station, the 90s at 9, which is my favorite, all of a sudden I hear this advertisement.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy. Drinks are poured, Corbin's playing, and we are ready to get our nerd on. A little light this week for us because we're going to be having a big discussion in the Thunderdome about some various topics. But this week, I went to the movie on a Friday night, which is very rare to me, but my wife is at a retreat. My son was working, so I'm like, hey, I got nothing better to do. I'm going to see The Fall Guy.
Todd dating himself with the Fall Guy. No Heather Thomas, I'm guessing.
Oh, it was wonderful. I had my own seat. It was great. Didn't have to sit by anybody. Sang a little bit to myself.
Didn't have to sit in somebody's lap, so that's
nope,
good.
Nope, it was great. Nope, it was great. So I had a great time seeing The Fall Guy. This is Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Hannah Waddingham was in this. I didn't even know that. She was great. And then Winston Duke was also in this. Great cast. Him. Yeah, great cast. Really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. And part of it was, and this was directed by David Leitch, who's done a few other things. I'm trying to think what else he directed. He directed Bullet Train. No wonder I like this. He also directed John Wick. He also directed Atomic Blonde. So really good at action. Really good at action. Very fun.
But it's a comedy, right? I mean, the trailer
absolutely a comedy. This is great. The chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt is amazing. They are so wonderful together. This movie has, I love Ryan Gosling. He's even said this, goes, I can't do the dark movies anymore. My family doesn't like it when I do them. So he's all engaged into this lighter fare, which quite honestly, he's amazing at. He's very self-deprecating. He's handsome and he's got a great sense of humor and it really works. And the part I liked about this is this is essentially based on the 80s TV series by Glenn A. Larson. And it's wonderful.
Champion.
It's wonderful. Heather Thomas is lacking, so that's okay. I forgive it. It's okay. The premise of this movie is just basically he's a stunt guy, has been basically backing up Aaron Taylor-Johnson for years. He's the stunt man. And Emily Blunt this is her first directing job that she's doing. And she's doing a movie called Metal Storm, which is absolutely hilarious, because when you see this movie, you will automatically think, did they get the idea from Zack Snyder? Because this movie is essentially a Zack Snyder film. That's all I will say, because you'll notice it throughout, and it's a wonderful thing.
Oh my God.
The other part I love, for some of them, they went deep into the song, the Kiss song. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. That song is completely through this movie. They do it in different versions. It's amazing. I was even singing along by myself. There's a great karaoke scene in this movie.
Ooh, that's Todd Jam. He likes karaoke.
I think this movie is great. I loved it so much. It's a crowd pleaser. I think it's going to make about $30 million. Nice. I think, though, this one could grow. Kind of like that one.
Oh, man.
That one romantic comedy movie from Glenn Powell.
Oh, the Anybody But You or whatever.
Because that movie just continued to grow and grow for some reason. It just got crazy. So
we're all in so much trouble because I think we all had it on our brackets, but I probably had it the lowest of any of us, so I don't know. But
I did not have Fall Guy because I did not think it would do. I didn't think it would beat the top 10, but I could be wrong, and I hope it does well because I really like this movie.
And it was the first movie out for our competition. Yeah. Not including, obviously, The Phantom Menace, which I'm sure will make millions of dollars coming back. Or not. It'll just be people like me going.
Some adults have to trick their children into going to the movies, and this will be the reason what they do. Yes.
Jar Jar Binks. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, speaking of Star Wars, and even though Jar Jar did not make an appearance, got up this morning, and it's May 4th, and there was a drop of 6 little short films called Tales of the Empire. This was a flip side to the Tales of the Jedi, which came out right around the same time back in 2022, which gave us 6 vignettes that were in a lot of ways focused around Ahsoka and events that happened during episodes 2, 3, and then in the Clone Wars, where this really divides it down the middle because it does focus on events that happen starting with the Clone Wars. So we're split. We got 3 segments that focus on 2 different characters. The first segment focuses on the Morgan Elsbeth character that we saw in season 2 of The Mandalorian. I went back and watched that episode again because I'm like, I don't remember that. And I say an Asian guy, but there's no Asia in space. So everybody's a space, whatever you're going to call him. So he was a space Asian. Looking like whatever it is. But I didn't remember that character at all. But he was a very big part of this. But we go through seeing her genesis of what made her not such a great person. General Grievous makes an appearance. That's very exciting. Are we going spoilers? No spoilers? Light spoilers?
You know what, folks? This will take you literally an hour to watch all 6 episodes, maybe a little longer. So pause here, come back if you want to not get spoiled.
We'll go just buck wild. But yeah, it shows it shows her redemption and being rescued from living on a world that's being overrun by the separatists. It then shows her, flashes forward to the time of the Empire, where she's a businesswoman, a designer of a fancy type of TIE fighter that is deemed too expensive by a big fat. She's sitting in a boardroom scene. Didn't that kind of make your skin crawl? It's like, look at all these assholes shooting this woman's idea down. She wants
kind of like what they do. It reminded me of that one episode, or the episodes of I'm blanking on it now. Remember the one Imperial woman in, was it Mandalorian?
What was she doing?
She was trying to track down, maybe it was Andor. I'm trying to remember.
Deidre. She was with the intelligence.
And they had the board, and they were doing that. Yeah. So it kind of reminded me exactly of that.
Exactly. Yeah, she was pitching a TIE fighter, which you end up seeing. It's called a TIE. You end up seeing it in Rebels, so they actually do end up making it. But it's through this that she ends up meeting Thrawn, and he's a younger version of Thrawn, so he's not a Grand Admiral.
Still an Admiral, so I mean that's pretty fast. Bless you.
Excuse me, Gene. Yeah, he was. Well, he's Grand Admiral by the time we meet him in Rebels. So yes, he was a better admiral. He's got more in the Empire.
There's no rear admiral in Star Wars. Darn.
It's all the placards.
I think all the ranks are fake, anyways.
Well, they're kind of based on U.S. Navy, but they go. Yes, it's certain. The more little cubes you get, that's your bigger rank. So anyway, and he wasn't wearing his traditional garb, whatever. So this is finding out how they started their association, and then we jump forward to the third segment, and it's just prior to when we meet the live action version of the character. She's living on the planet Corvus. She's enslaved because of the deal she made with Thrawn in the previous segment. She's enslaved the population. She's built big factories. She's made her millions, but she's this despot who runs this planet. And it's the time of the New Republic. So a New Republic delegation shows up. It's one junior ambassador and like 4 guards. And this is not going to go good for these people. And she just kills all of them. And says, and then again, it ties right back into the episode because the episode of The Mandalorian was the one where we see Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And she's in that burned up, she's in that desolate forest. And at the end of the segment, you see that for no good reason at all, after killing all of the New Republic officers and blowing up their ship, she just sends out her guys with flamethrowers to just set the forest on fire. We're like, you know what? And fuck you too. We're going to burn this place down. And so, it was, but at the very end, this junior adjutant, her droid is able to send a distress call, and then you do hear Bo-Katan's voice on the other end of the distress call, and then it goes from Bo, goes right over to Ahsoka going there, because obviously Bo and Ahsoka were in cahoots trying to find Thrawn, and so this kind of kicked that into motion. So, all right, first half of it, what'd you think? How'd you like that story?
Thought it was okay. I felt like I didn't get her motivation to just go against. I didn't really feel like I understand truly who she was trying to go after and avenge, because everybody that she was against, like Grievous, are gone. I mean, that's over. So I'm like, and now she's trying to go and I'm a little confused. Like her motivation was very vague and weird.
I'm just wondering if her real motivation was just she wanted wealth and she got it.
Maybe.
And to do that, she just had to, ruin the planet she was on and enslave people. And then when somebody showed up who wanted to hold her accountable, she was like, "Yeah, I think I'm just gonna kill y'all." So she's just bad.
Okay,
She's
there
just
you go.
bad.
I like that. I like that motivation. Sometimes people can just be assholes. So you know what?
There's no other way to stripe it, is that she likes money, and she's got her big Beskar spear, which she's really good at fighting with, because she fights with the little stubby guy who you saw that either that same character or Remember the Race was in the end of Rebels, and that was big punch up at the end of that series.
Well,
she was just bad. She was just a bad chick, and
she did say, though, I'm doing it for revenge, but I'm like, to Thrawn, because remember he goes first said for the glory of the Empire when she was at the board meeting, and then at the end she said, I'm doing it for revenge, but I'm like, who is she taking revenge on?
Just
Grievous is dead.
I guess
the clones are all dead. The droids are all dead.
Right. I think it's just taking revenge on life. I don't know, I guess. But anyway, moving on.
It was okay, though. I thought it was okay, but once again, it's all tied into the Filoni stuff again. So I feel like, wow, I was hoping for a little bit different stories.
I would quit hoping.
Yeah, these are not the stories you're looking for.
It's like the MCU, like with the What If. I would love it if that was based on stuff related to the comics, but it's not gonna be.
Oh, sure.
It's gonna be based on the MCU because that's what people know. You know what I mean? So anyway, then
I would have rather had, Charlie, I'll be honest, I would have rather had the and I know this isn't Tales of the Jedi, but still they really got into more Jedi stuff and Sith stuff rather than actual like politics and stuff.
Yeah.
I would have really liked the Padawan and Rey Stevenson's characters, because we knew nothing about them, and actually they're continuing on with their story after. So I'm like, we know she died in Ahsoka. I'm like, why don't we get more backstory with that?
I don't disagree with you. I think that would have been a better choice if they were going to go that route, because it was the same group of characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not flesh? Because there may be another plan for those characters you don't know. But then we moved on to a story that, Todd, and you'll love it, picked up a thread from the Clone Wars. You get Barriss Offee, who is a disgraced Padawan, voiced by Mrs. Patton Oswalt, the lovely Meredith Salinger, coming back to reprise that role. She was a Padawan who decided to frame Ahsoka for murder. And even though Ahsoka was ultimately exonerated from that crime, it gave Ahsoka such a bad distrust and taste in her mouth of the Jedi Council that she quit it all and she walked away. And that's why she's not actually a Jedi. But yeah, Barriss was in prison, so they kick off this segment with her looking out her little prison cell window at the very far in the distance, the Jedi temple explosions happening and fire burning. So Order 66 is happening, and she's like, "What's going on?" And the guard says, "Oh, you should just be glad you're not a Jedi today." Like, that was very ominous. She's like, "Oh, okay." And I was trying to figure out why she was in a cell that was clearly insulated to protect from doing Force-related things, but she still had handcuffs on. So it's like, how did she use the bathroom? That seems challenging. She have to call
with handcuffs? I mean,
yeah, she had handcuffs on.
Maybe she could push her pants down. I don't know, Charlie. Maybe she's got little hooks to get the pants up and down.
That seemed like
maybe she's wearing a pee bag. We don't know these things.
That just seems like it. It seems Charlie, like torture beyond torture.
Has the question ever come up about Star Wars? Do people actually? Maybe that's part of the rules. People don't have to go to the bathroom in Star Wars.
You never see Han Solo walking out of the bathroom.
Have we seen a bathroom in Star Wars? That was not just showering, but I mean, we've seen a toilet.
I know. It was the same thing like with Star Wars until they had to physically point out where the bathroom was at on the bridge of the Enterprise.
You mean Star Trek? Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek. Yes, exactly. So, so what happens is, that scene fades away and then it comes back and she's being confronted with one of the Inquisitors, one of the new Inquisitors. It's one of the Inquisitors we met in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and we've also obviously seen them in Star Trek or Star Wars Rebels as well. Who says, "We got a chance for you. You can join up. Come with us to it's called their little headquarters is the Inquisitorius something or other." I just call it the aquarium because it's a thing that's mostly underwater.
The Inquisitorium.
the Inquisitorium Aquarium. That's where they go. And she's put through tests by the lead Inquisitor dude, who we saw in live action in Kenobi, and then we obviously met him in Rebels as well. And she eventually is deemed worthy. So your choices, you can either be an Inquisitor and hunt down Jedi and be kind of a Sith adjacent, a Sith light, not an actual Sith, because there can only be two. And she's crowned and she's given an outfit, and then you get a cameo by Vader because he's their boss. He walks in and he's
I'm going to stop you right there. Does Vader being in a scene anymore really even make you feel like, oh, yeah, it's Vader again?
Well, yeah, when it opened, they said, and here's the guy who's going to be your boss. I'm like, it's Vader. He's going to walk in and you get the breathing. And you're right. There are those calibers of fans who hear this stuff. They're like, oh, shit, oh, my God. But I was like, okay, it was just whatever. Okay, I get it.
Vader keeps showing up. I mean, he is like, I don't know. At this point, I feel like the resonance and big impacts of like what we used to get with Star Wars are kind of dead, because we've seen a Vader a million times. He keeps showing up in all these prequel things, and
he's got to knock it off. But anyway, she goes on her first mission, getting into the second segment, where they have to basically their whole job is to suss out Jedi, and right from the start, Barriss is not, and Barriss is like this third sister or fourth sister. I don't know. They're called brothers and sisters, but each one's like the third, the second, the fourth, whatever it is. I can't remember what her designation was. And she is not down with the mission. She tries to get a confession out of a kid by being, doing a good cop, bad cop. But then, the first woman, whose name is Lynn, that was like evil. She's Evil Lynn. Evil Lynn.
Very nice.
Yeah, Evil Lynn just flips out and is killing people. And then they find the Jedi, and this guy manages to best Evil Lynn and kind of knock her out. And then Barriss is like, come with me, just surrender. And then Lynn comes back and stabs the dude in the back. And then Barriss says, screw you, and force pushes her over a cliff.
That was pretty quick. I mean, I was okay.
and then Barriss takes off, and we jump forward. It was funny. I was watching a breakdown video just to confirm some things. I thought we jump forward. Third segment, we jump forward about a decade. So it's right. Oh God, Todd, they're coming for you. They found out you're force sensitive.
Guessing the UPS man is here. Sorry, folks. Yeah,
that's okay. But yeah, we jump forward about 10 years. Barriss is in hiding. And it was kind of funny because I'm trying to figure out, is this like, did they jump us forward to the time of the Mandalorian? Because Barriss looks very old. But there was a theory on that. She's living on this planet. She's kind of doing the, hey, our kid, these parents are coming to her because they have a child who's force sensitive. And like, we don't want the Empire to find this child. And so she's able to orchestrate sending these people
the Underground Railroad of Jedi,
the underground, which is called the Path. Yes, so that happens. But the reason Barriss was looking so emaciated, even though it had only been a decade, two theories. A, think about Tatooine and how old everybody got on Tatooine. Like, how Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor turned into Al McGinnis in like 10 years, I think living in a harsh environment. So she's living in a harsh environment, but also one of these force using powers, this was pointed out by this video I watched, is healing and like giving your life energy to heal somebody, kind of like
your life force.
Yeah, kind of like the way that that's how Kylo Ren sacrificed himself, was to heal Rey at the end of it, and it killed him. So some people are saying this theory was that was the case with there. But in this child being tracked, Evil Lynn shows up. She's not dead, even though it's been a decade or almost. And they get into a bit of a situation. Todd, I've been talking this whole time. Tell us about the rest of the episode, please.
I really liked this last episode. I thought it was really well done, because essentially Lynn is confronting her, and basically she, I'm blanking on her name, the main character, Barriss. Okay, I think like Chuck Barris. So Barriss is really trying to be a pacifist, no longer fighting, kind of giving up on the ways of combat, but she's trying to buy the family and her former associates time to get away. She has her ship. She said, take my ship. So she confronts Lynn, but then she eventually says, I won't stop you. But if I will warn you, if you go into the caverns, you will not be able to escape. And doesn't say why. So she goes through, and it's a really cool sequence where it's essentially ice caves with like
Yeah,
glassy
it's like a
panels.
black rock, kind of a
Yeah.
black rock.
So it's
Can't cut
highly
her way out.
like a room of mirrors. So you
Right.
see the one group, they can see her as she's coming by,
Right.
so they find ways to sneak around. And along the way, Lynn basically is being communicated by Barris.
Yeah,
And
she's talking her through the force, and
yeah,
then
Lynn's
Barris
getting
is there.
mad
Yeah,
and trying
Yeah.
to like just slash things, and eventually just gets lost. Doesn't know what she's going to do, and then in her anger, she stabs, and Barris was there all along.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's just the thing. And we're left wondering, Barris is continuing as she's dying. You know, you're still seeing her puff breath because again, it's a ice world and it's cold, but she's saying the Empire wants to make you feel like there's no way out. You know, this whole cave is a you know, it was a huge metaphor of your life. You know, you have a way to get out. And so you do see that Lynn, she leaves her red lightsaber behind, and she's carrying Barris out of the cave. You don't necessarily know if Barris is alive or dead, so you're not left to imagine what the deal is. And then it ends. And yeah, I will, you know, to wrap this up, Todd, I agree with you. There's no doubt that the Barris' story was much more compelling than Morgan Elsbeth stuff. It was great. I liked the character again. I liked the character. I liked her arc back in Clone Wars. I liked Meredith Salinger, you know, because I'm a big fan of her husband and I'm a big fan of her work. And I thought this was great. I thought this was ultimately, this being Tales of the Empire, underscoring at the end how the Empire rules through fear and hopelessness, which is that's very on brand for them, as you and I are always fond of saying. And I think this really underscored it, but it also shows how people still have a choice. They just have to have the bravery to make the choice. And I think that's what evil Lynn did. She became good Lynn at the end, or maybe she did. We don't know. So
she became Goody Lynn. Yes.
Goody Lynn. So anyway, obviously all 6 of these great segments, and they're anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes long each. Yeah. Those are out there on Disney Plus for you to watch as you celebrate your love of Star Wars. So yeah, I dug it. I had watched Tales of the Jedi again yesterday as a refresher. I don't know. I could necessarily say, I think Tales of the Jedi was more consistent. Mostly because the Morgan Elsbeth stuff just didn't necessarily dig on how that all shook out. So, but anyway, well, cool. Well, that takes us out of Geek Easy. Todd, let's, I got a great idea. Let's skip out on our check because these guys never do us right. I'm pretty sure this burger is 100% rat tail.
Pay them with our library card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think this burger has a rat tail hanging out of it. I don't like it, but I'm going to get up my Air Qantas app. Time to get down to the land down under. Hologram Tina and the mutants await. We're going to do something a little different as we dip into the virtual mailbag. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week we're doing something a little different. We're going to talk about Free Comic Book Day first, and then we're going to dig into the mailbag. So we've got some questions, so we're going to talk about those. And thank you so much for folks who submitted those. We'll get to your questions very quickly. But we want to talk about Free Comic Book Day, which is today, May 4th. And hopefully everybody got a chance to go to their comic book shop, the local comic book shop, get some free comics, but more importantly, spend some money so they can keep doing this awesome stuff. So Charlie, how was your tale of Free Comic Book Day?
Well, I looked, there are 3 shops here in town that I like, and then there's probably 2 that I don't. So I kind of discounted the ones that I wasn't crazy about. But the one that's closest to me, I talk about it all the time. It's the place where Shizor came from. So it's a very important shop. Argos Comics and Used Books under a new ownership in the last couple of years. Roger and Crystal are the owners there. We've become friends with them. They're very nice folks. They opened an hour earlier than the other places. And they are in a part of town that's it's very nice, but it's littered with other little bookstores. So you get kind of it's East Town, which is here in the Grand Rapids area. So it's a lot of young hipster types, young families. So it's got kind of a different vibe than your average It's Falling Apart kind of comic shop or something where you're going to have a huge crowd. So when I walked in, I got there, they opened at 10. I walked in at like 10:03 because you know me, I'm going to be earlier on time for everything because otherwise it's going to drive me out of my goddamn mind. I walked in there and there's like 5 people there. Books were all out. Crystal, like I said, it's a husband and wife. She was behind, so she was behind the counter. They were training a new guy on the register. He seemed very. She introduced me to him, like, "Oh, here's so and so." But Crystal and I were just having some catching up chat. Roger wasn't there yet. Roger, last time I saw him was a couple weeks ago at the Comic-Con that we both worked, because he had a big booth there. And we were doing the thing with Graham Petoskey, so I'd wander by and chat him up quite a bit. Just super nice guy, huge Star Wars guy. So he'd be in hog heaven. I got my books, and I know we're going to talk about our books in a little bit because it was another question. We'll kind of leave that. But I got my books, and I wanted to buy something. I had a poll to pick up because I'm getting the 40th anniversary a reproduction of each issue of Marvel Superhero Secret Wars. So it's April, so issue 4 was out. It's that great one where the Hulk's holding up the mountain, which is one of the first superhero comics I ever got. But I remember my original copy of it, the back cover was in tatters. It was so weird. So anyway, I have a nice crisp copy of it. Won't even really bother to probably open it. I'm just buying it so that I have a set because I think the set's cool. Issue 12 of that series, I had, which was the double-sized finale, I have signed by Mike Zeck. You and I did that when one of the years we were at Wizard World. It's framed, it's in my den. So I grabbed a Star Wars magazine that had Grogu on the cover hugging the Babu Frick alien. I got that for April. So really, I got the Babu Frick because because my wife's traveling. She's home tonight, so that's a surprise I got for her because she loves the cutesy poo stuff. And that was it. I jumped in my car, and because the next place I was going to didn't open till 11, and I went home and got back on the computer, and I waited till about 11:02. I jumped back in my car. It's about 15 minutes to the next place. This is Tardy's Collector's Corner. I've talked about it a lot. The old owners were it was Kirby and his wife, Deb. Deb, once upon a time, actually phoned into the show, recorded a message for us. Remember when we used to have the bat phone?
Oh, yeah.
She recorded a message for us. This was, probably close to when we started doing the show 10 years ago. And they have that's a little bit more of a traditional comic shop. It's a tight space, there's toys everywhere, where Argos is we have used books and we have new books and we have comic books, and everything is very, very just as such, where Tardy's is a little bit more traditional, a little bit more kind of rough and tumble. Also, newer owners there, Gavin and Deanna, they've been there about 7 years or so as owners. They were employees and they took over as owners. So I pull around the corner, and it's in a little bit of a rougher neighborhood, like place you probably wouldn't want to be after dark. But as I pull around the corner, Tardy's is in a block where it's them. There's a restaurant, there's like a cell phone store, and then a post office. The line was down to the post office with people standing on the sidewalk. Cow. They had people from the 501st there, so there were Star Wars characters all over the place. Todd, I get along with some of those people. I don't get along with some of the other ones. I did. They're all
stormtroopers, Charlie. How can you tell them apart?
You just know, you can tell it by their cars with the stickers on them as you drive past. It was a dead giveaway. But what I thought was, I got the books I wanted at Tardy's, which I got 5 books or so. And I thought, if I go in there, I'm going to spend money I probably shouldn't even bother spending. So I just, and the parking lot was really chaotic. They have one of these parking lots that when you pull in, the spots are vertical, and it's there's only one space where you can get in or out. So as I pulled in, actually you drive all the way around the building and then you get out. So that's how I did. So I didn't get out, but kudos to Tardy's. They put their stuff together the right way. They've got a great group of customers there. They probably did very, very well today, so I feel good for them. And then by the time I was home, the third shop, I'm like, it was the complete other end of town. And again, why go and why spend money I don't need to spend? Where I went, I spent money and I felt good about it. So what about you? What did you do?
So my plan got a little bit derailed because originally the store I would normally go to, Mind's Eye Comics, that has now moved into the local mall, which is they'd been waiting to move forever, and they had been haven't been buying new books. And then I'm like, okay, well, they must be ready to go. They're all set up. I've seen some news stories about people showing up. A local newscaster was there. I'm like, very cool. I'll go there. I haven't been to the mall in eons at this point.
And is this the famous Eden Prairie Mall from Mallrats?
No, this is Burnsville Mall. So, which quite honestly,
the Mr. Burnsville Mall.
Yes. So this mall, I don't know how long it is for this earth. I know it's being bought and they're going to do something, but at this point, don't know. But I was going to go, and I messaged them because I didn't see anything about Free Comic Book Day, because you can go and say, find places that are doing this. They weren't on the list, and they normally had in the past. So I'm like, I just messaged them like, hey, are you going to have? No, we aren't. We were too late to order, but we'll be giving away comics. I'm like, okay. And I know their inventory and getting new stuff was bad. So I'm like, I don't even know if I go in there, I'm going to find anything that I want to just buy. So,
or be given away. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm like, I will get there when, I'll take, Chris and I will go there. There's also a new Filipino restaurant in there as well. So we'll do that another time. But I went to the other shop that's near me about 5 miles away. It's called Issues Needed. And that is a very great staff, very nice. It's a small shop, just like probably sounds like Tardy's.
Their shop is a long rectangle.
Yep.
Basically, that's the shop. Yeah.
Very same. Lots of action figures, statues. They have Magic the Gathering. They've got a variety of things. But they do one of the things I always love that they do is they do like the bound collection of single issues to make a whole story. And I was going to send you a couple pictures.
Yeah. Argos had that as well. I kind of thumbed through it, but again, I don't do print comics as a matter of course.
Yeah.
The stuff that I have that's saved is out of print stuff that's not digital, because we have Comixology and we have Marvel Unlimited and we have the DC Infinite, and that's how you and I read things for Spinner Rack. So that's pretty much where it's at.
And that's where I like normally if I get something, it's going to be something that I normally couldn't get digitally.
Right.
It's not on an app or something like that, especially independent books. They're just not always on Comixology. So that's where I typically get those books. But I love that they did it. And I'll have to send a couple pictures of things I saw that I think you get a kick out of, because I didn't know they existed. So, they did a great job. Lots of people there, very fun. I actually did an Instagram live outside of the shop because I didn't want to be rude and make it rude, but I did that outside and I tagged them and everything like that. So, great time, lots of great things. I got a ton of books and swag, and we can talk about that next, probably with our first question.
Our second question, I think you mean.
Oh, the first question was what not in order, but
there you go. Go for it. Go ahead.
So so in regards to Free Comic Book Day, one of the things there is free comics that the publishers allow comic book shops to buy in bulk at a discounted price, but they still have to buy them from.
Whoa! It's not free. Wait a minute. It's not
free to you and I. It's not to the shops.
It's not absolutely free. There's a bit by Dane Cook. Whoa! It's not absolutely free.
No, buy one get one free. No, so that's the thing. So even though you're coming into the shops, they are still giving you things that they paid for. So it is not a moneymaker just to have you come in. It is when you buy more than they spent. So, and it's publishers all across the board, all doing things. A lot of them tie into like special events that are coming out. And some shops only get a few. The shop Issues Needed, had a crap ton of the issues. So I tried to not take everything. I only took the things that interested me, and then and I always give the books away at the end to kids or other people.
Right.
So Charlie. So do you want to? So we got questions from Chris from TC1HD1D. He's a Patreon supporter. Chris Johns, check him out. He's phenomenal. His 1 hour one decision show is fantastic. So check him out. But Chris's question was, what free books are you picking up today? So Charlie,
yes, I don't have them down here with me. So now you're going to put my memory to the test. But I did grab the Spider-Man book. I grabbed both of the Star Wars books. I grabbed the Tales of the Jedi one, even though it's for kids, because I watched a few episodes of that show and it's adorable. So I thought I'll give it a stab. I grabbed just based on our somewhat raucous conversation about apes. I grabbed Planet of the Apes one, and again, you and I did a Planet of the Apes on Spinner Rack not that long ago as well. I think, and we feel like I don't remember. Was that 5? I feel like that was 5.
I think so.
Yeah, because again, I'm in the same place as you. I know that I'll read these over, or I might not read these over, and then they're not necessarily going to go in my collection of stuff because they don't really have that much ostensibly value. You know what I mean? So I could end up again giving them away, to charity or whatever it is when we do, one of our events for the club. So, but yeah, that was it. But yeah, as I told you, I did actually spend some money picking something up. So I wasn't just, taking up space, going and doing there. So what about you?
Holy cow. So quite a bit, because I also picked up for my wife as well,
Yes.
books that she would be enjoying full. So one of the books I got was Absolute Power. It's a new event from DC. So they had that one that was out.
Power.
Yep. Blood Hunt. I also picked that up. They had Blood Hunt #1. That's Marvel's vampire event.
Oh, the event. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So they said they had issue 1, which I don't know if it's the full issue. That'd be kind of crazy. But it says Blood Hunt #1. And they also had Blood Hunt Diaries, which is kind of cool. There's a Spider-Man Ultimate Universe book.
Yep.
Which
got that one too.
Don't know much about that one. Conan, Battle of the Black Stone from Titan Comics. Gatchaman #0. This is what I talked about. The Battle of the Planets manga. Then Energon Universe. This is basically the book between G.I. Joe and Transformers.
I got that one too. Yeah, that was the last one.
Yep. Barda. This is a book that DC does a bunch of these alternative books based on their characters. This is about Big Barda. So that's kind of cool. That's going to be a Chris book.
Terribly named character.
Yep. I did pick up the Star Wars book. I'll see what that's like. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had a book as well. I got, then just silly books. Barkham Asylum. Basically, it's a DC kids book with animals. It's a Joker and different characters. It's kind of fun. Hellboy and Stranger Things had a book.
Oh, nice. Oh, I don't think I saw that one. Yeah, I might have seen these other ones if I had, braved the line to be at Tardy's. But again,
I'd hold it up, but you probably can't see it through my thing.
Yeah. I just assume other people have them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why. And my we've got friends that have kids, so we always get them because they don't always go. We'll give them away.
Yeah.
So there was Monster High. That's it's a series that my wife likes. Maleficent, the Disney character.
Maleficent.
Yep. Marvel Voices. That's a kind of cool book by special, people of color, sometimes people of different ethnicities. Witches of Brooklyn, just a fun book. My wife will get that. And then they had some weird ones too. These weren't tied to Free Comic Book Day, but they had a Marvel's Must Have, which was Uncanny Avengers issues. Had 3 comic books in it.
Oh, I saw that too. I did kind of eyeball that as well. Yeah.
And there was a Marvel Must Haves. Which was Spider-Man Deadpool. So kind of a precursor to the Deadpool movie come out. So lots of good stuff here. So I'm excited for it, and I will read that just to give myself something to do at night. So thank you very much. Issues needed. But I did buy things too. So Charlie, what did you buy?
Very good. Well, as I had already said, I picked up my issue 4 of the
that's right.
Weird Secret Wars, and then I grabbed the an issue of Star Wars Insider that had Grogu hugging the Babu Frick for April.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, got it. Cool. Well, very cool. So it's weird. I spent more than I thought I was going to do, but I got tricked into, Charlie, foil covers.
I did see.
There's a bunch of them. You probably can't see it very well.
I grabbed previews for Marvel. It was April for July or whatever it is, and I was reading through, and it did say retailers / consumer ask about foil covers. So yeah, I guess foil covers they're making a comeback, or like Mean Girls are trying to make it a thing. It's like Fetch, they're trying to make it a thing. I don't know, trying to bring it back. It's retro, everything is old, it's new, it's the 90s. Everybody loves the 90s. Yeah.
Who knows? So I got Absolute Power, that new the new event from DC. It's a foil cover, very cool, Spider-Man with Superman on the cover. Very pretty. But that was $10 for one issue. I didn't know it was that much, but I'm like, you know what? I'll buy it.
I have purchased $10 single issues in the last few years, and I won't say, but like I think it was Amazing Fantasy 1000 was or like
these
Amazing
are pretty
Spider-Man
thin.
700. Yeah, it wasn't 64 pages or 88 pages or whatever it is that you would expect. It's basically like like a buck a page. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So the other book I bought that was also a foil cover that was $10 was Gargoyle's Quest. This is the Disney animated series.
Nice.
Yeah, and essentially they're bringing it back by the original creator Greg Weisman, and that is a really cool cover. It's got Demona and the other gargoyle. So you know what? Why not? I'm there. I'll buy it. I'll support it. Very cool cover. Didn't cost a lot. I also got, Charlie, a gem. I didn't own this comic. It's one of my favorites that I remember as a kid. And that is X-Men 181. And it's basically young dragons in love. And it's got Lockheed and the big giant. And this is where they go to Japan. Yeah, it was $4.
Yeah, well, sorry, people who are listening to this on audio. So it's a good thing you did a great job describing it.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
good.
It's a iconic cover. I remember seeing it, and I'm like, "That's so cool." But Revco is out of it apparently. Sorry,
Right.
Revco Drugs.
Revco, how could you?
Yeah. Oh, the other thing they were giving away, these little hero clicks, Harley Quinn this year.
Nice. The other thing I grabbed because I did see it advertised, it was a little postcard that said, "Take this postcard and go to Marvel Insider and punch in a code and enter yourself for a chance to be drawn into a comic book and get 10,000 points."
Ooh.
I follow the points on my Marvel Insider, which you get every time you.
I have like 300,000, which means I get like a free free graphic.
You can snag trade paperbacks and stuff for like 60.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, we have all this stuff here. Oh my goodness, excuse me.
And then the last thing, Charlie, this was cool. This is really cool. It was $25, and you can't really see it, but maybe you can.
Oh yeah. Is that a calendar?
It is a calendar.
Yeah.
But fabulous. The cool part about it, it's a 6 foot long by 2 feet calendar. It makes a mural by Alex Ross.
That seems very handy for any. Well, I have a huge quantity of what you have right there, that series he did back in 2020, in my den. I have about 15 of them framed side by side. That's my decor because I love that series so much.
Oh, this is like, and it's hard. It's like hardcover. It's not like thin,
right? And and I have I think we actually bought a print book of it with tear out pages, so I could frame even more of them if I wanted.
Well, and this one's got individual images too on the back side. And it's got the calendar. For $25, I'm like, this is pretty amazing. And if I find some way to keep it like not destroyed because it's paper.
Well, that was like I said, the bound book version of it that I had. It's tall, but they're I think they're 11 by 14 prints. But I had picked it up. Back when those came out for the first time. So, well, good. All right. Well, that's you made the most of it. That's more than Todd usually goes out there and spends on stuff. So, but you were supporting local. That's awesome. That's a good deal. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. You want to tackle some of the rest of these?
Yeah, well, we'll go to the next one. Chris had another question because it's comic book related, and we'll just stick to that. He said, "Did Joe Mad ever finish Battle Chasers?" So Joe Madura, he is he was the artist for X-Men back in the day during the Age of Apocalypse era. Very phenomenal artist. Love him to pieces. Then he made Battle Chasers. It was his own imprint. He did 9 issues and then stopped. And then he went to make video games. So he actually owns a very successful video game company.
The book went on, or it just was over?
No, it stopped. And then we're like, "Are you ever going back to it? You never finished the story." He made a video game for Battle Chasers as well. So people are like, want more. So we did get back to it. So it is out there, Chris. You can buy the collection that he did previously of all of the Battle Chasers, plus the new issues. I don't know if he's got a plan to completely finish the series or just wrap up what he's got or kind of leave it there and come back to it after time. But yes, he did come back to it. So check out Battle Chasers.
That's wild. All right. Well, we'll go all the way back to the start because our very first question was from, don't get me wrong here, it says, I screw up people's names.
It's Matt. It's Matt. Matt Keel.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. And he asked, ever been interested in anime or manga? And I'll tackle this one first and foremost. I've certainly read it, and it's certainly passed through, but like, for example, anytime I'm in the movies and I see a trailer for we're having Studio Ghibli Fest, I cringe. I find all that stuff very unwatchable. But the beauty of it is, it doesn't matter if I like it or I don't like it. But to answer your question, it's a total miss for me. Whether it's a cultural thing, Japanese culture is just not a big thrill for me, but it's a big thrill for a lot of people. I totally get it. So I do not. It's great that it's so prevalent and easy to find. And I think it was a Crunchyroll as a service where they show all that stuff. That's awesome that people are able to get access to it. But yeah, for myself personally, not so much.
So for me, not so much on the manga side. It's not my bag of chips, but I know my son loves manga. And then he also loves anime. And so anime, I have been a big fan of it since the days of Voltron. Then I would go to the video store. They'd have like Vampire Hunter D. They'd have, Giant Robo. They would have several other different series that I just loved to pieces because it was different. It was cool. And then I remember when they had, what was it? Cartoon Network had, I'm blanking on the name.
It clearly made a dent.
No, Toonami is what Cartoon Network had.
Yeah.
And then they would show Dragon Ball, and then they would show a bunch of other series. Giant, I already said Giant Robo. They had a few others, but yeah, really got into it. Then my brother-in-law was really into anime, so I got into Evangelion. Also got into like Cowboy Bebop and a few others, and my son's also into anime, so I've gotten into Spy Family, which is very cool, kind of a fun concept. Demon Slayer, which has been a big hit in our house, and then also the number one for Logan is probably My Hero Academia. And Charlie, I think you're familiar with that one.
Yeah, very familiar.
It's superheroes of taking on bad guys, and it's very crazy, weird. It's heart touching. Sometimes it's just weird, but I really like that. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, and I would say I'm usually more of a fan of Western animation, like Avatar, and also Blue Eyed Samurai, which was amazing. So I do like those shows too.
Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. All right. Well, final question is from our guy Clint, who was on with us.
Ryoketsu.
Yeah, weeks back.
2043.
We have covered a lot of this ground, but we'll certainly dig up any more. Since it's May the 4th, which we've been somewhat demonstrative about, what do you want to see be done or come out with the Star Wars franchise in the future? We've been over this one a lot, and the beats are pretty solid for Todd. We know what Todd's looking for, but Todd, go ahead and break it down for us.
Great question. And I've been getting a lot of what I've wanted through video games with Star Wars. And ultimately, I've said this before, but I would truly like to see, if we're going to go back into Star Wars, let's cover and get back the original trilogy cast and do stories post Return of the Jedi, because like we just did Dark Empire, that was post.
Hold on. You mean get back the original trilogy characters, not the cast? Because
some of the cast that are still alive that can do voice work. Yes,
and you're talking about something animated. You're saying
Correct. And I don't need live action with Star Wars to be impactful. I've really liked a lot of the Visions shows. I'm not a huge fan of, I like some Rebels, don't really love Clone Wars, but I really like what I saw in Visions and some of the animation styles they could use. But I would love to see them get the original trilogy cast or characters with some of the original voice actors to come in, and then get other people to voice them and just have cool adventures, pull some things in from the EU, the legacy groups, and just play with that era with those characters, because quite honestly, they've got the least amount of screen time compared to any other Star Wars characters we've gotten lately.
Yeah, especially with programs and stuff. Now, I would go so far as to say, we know we're getting Mando and Grogu, and we know that of the Filoniverse, and let's face it, the Filoniverse is here and it's not going away. So like it or lump it, that's going to be the direction we're headed in. But I would like to say that with the original Thrawn trilogy that we saw, it with the Dark Empire that we talked about that came out just today, and on our Patreon, which of course you can try for 7 days for free at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. See how I got that in. But it will also show up on the Holocron feed probably next week. Is that finally recast our original three? You know what I mean? It wouldn't be, and if it was really just for that film, yes. Ooh, but yeah, I love Mark Hamill. He's my childhood hero, but you can move in a direction away that's not him being Uncanny Valley. You know what I mean? Grab us an actor that's a great actor that looks like Luke Skywalker, plug him in. Bring back Alden as Han Solo. I liked what he did. Millie Bobby Brown as Princess Leia, maybe, or maybe somebody else. You know what I mean? So grab yourself a photograph of Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher in about 1990, and that's how you cast them. If you want it to be this, Grand Admiral Thrawn trilogy movie, and then bring in all your Mando characters, but yet Han, Luke, and Leia. Give us the give us the spiritual send off, or let it be the beginning of something new. All right, well, now it's the New Republic era, so we're going to have these characters to show up, something that's going to be cross the aisle. Things are so blurred between movies and TV with the streaming world. And something else you and John and I were talking about is that, how it's diluted the MCU brand by having so many things that had to see this show to be able to appreciate this movie. But, there's not as much Star Wars that I feel like it's that much of a problem that they couldn't integrate something in and back again. Plus you're dealing with established characters with established backgrounds. So I would like to see, obviously Thrawn meets his demise. He's defeated because things go on. And obviously we more time goes by and we find ourselves in the sequel trilogy era. But yes, I think it's finally time to hammer down and get us some new actors and to recast, because you know what? It works for James Bond. That franchise has been going on for 60 years. You can make it happen. Give us new Han, Luke, and Leia. That's what I want to say.
I will say the last thing I would like is after that, we know we're getting post-sequel saga adventures.
The Jedi
I want
Academy,
to
right.
find a new enemy that has nothing to do with the Empire, has nothing to do with Jedi or the Sith. I want to find a force, maybe potentially alien, that is a threat to the whole of human, alien kind that we know that they have to go against.
They had that great race in the EU, and they were from outside of the galaxy, and they were like Groot. They were like evil, like plant people that they could make, like they turned Coruscant into like a forest or whatever.
Okay.
And I'm drawing a blank on the name, and somebody please hit me on Threads or whatever so I don't have to look it up. But it was the main villain of one of the big latter trilogies of the EU in the 90s, and it was the I can't remember. Yeah, Chia. Yes, exactly. It starts with an N, currently in the
Be careful.
No. Currently, the Nihil is the villainous race in the High Republic comics and books. So it was the one in the
Neil.
It was just Neil, like Neil
The
Diamond.
Neil. The
Sweet
Neil.
Caroline. Bop bop bop. Star Wars. Oh, crazy. Well, this was we got them all right. This was great.
We did.
Let's lean on this as a regular deal. But maybe not as a whole segment, but maybe we give ourselves we'll pick a top 3. We get people to write in and we'll space them out. But we're not going so far as to bring back the hotline, but we do have secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a letter, make it short so that we can read it. Yeah. But no, this has been fun. I've enjoyed doing this. But yeah, that's the show. So thank you very much to everybody for listening and tuning in. And Threads has been good for you're very active there. That's where a lot of these questions came from. I'm trying to be better about it. But Todd, in addition to finding yourself on Threads, where else do people find you out there?
They can also find me. I mean, our Facebook group still exists, and we're still getting people that come and join that. So, if you want a more casual thing, Facebook is there. If that's where you don't go to the other socials, go to Facebook. We get Messenger there. We've got our group. So check us out on Secret Friends Unite at Facebook. We also have a podcast page on Facebook as well. We put stuff out there. If you just want information about our podcast, it's there.
Yes.
SecretFriendsUnite.com is where everything is, and also our SecretFriendsUnite.com/Patreon if you'd like to check out a free trial. And
the other way around, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite.
Try it either way. You might be surprised.
Yeah, see what happens. And then myself just, yes, exactly. In Soviet Russia, website reads you. Oh my God. I, like Todd, I'm over on our Secret Friends Unite Discord, best Discord in the whole wide world. Don't verify that. But you can also track me down on Threads and Instagram. C3 Carpenter, just go ahead and spell it out. But love to spend a ton of my time, as I say, every week, working with my wife and several of our close friends at the USS Grand Petoskey. That is one of the bigger chapters of the International Star Trek Fan Club in the world. We are based here in Michigan. We're just adding our 5th chapter here in Michigan, which is very exciting to us. But I also do help out the good folks in Canada, in Region 13, a couple 3 chapters over there. So if you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice, go to sfi.org. plug in the state where you live, and we can help you find a trekker there. Or just feel free to drop me an email, rc13@sfi.org, and say, I'm a trekker and I need some help. I can help you out, help you find somebody near you. With that, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
I'm the unknown stuntman that make Eastwood look so fine.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.